So this is a 12 by 12 canvas that I primed with, it's an inexpensive canvas. I probably got it either Michael's or Amazon. I'm not a true realist painter, so I kind of, I wouldn't say I do impressionism either. I don't know what I do. I just do like my own version, but I'm going to dress this up a little bit and I'll show you how. So it's going to be a little bit different than what I usually do. And so it's very bright in here, but this is the photo that I'm going to use. And I will put it up in the background of the video because it will look a little bit better and a little more clear if I put it up as its own JPEG. But what I do is I put, my sample beside me so that I can view it, and then I'll show you how I go from there. And so I'm mixing up a little bit of white, black, and brown because I want to make a gray. With my leftover paint, after I'm done using acrylics, I mix them together and I use that on a new canvas just to use up the paint and to create a little bit of a base on my next canvas, so I'm not wasting paint. And then over that, I put a coat of a latex wall paint from one of the mist tint samples. It's like a very deep gray. And you can see that it's quite textured. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of a soft, high grit. That's 220, 320. Go over that a little bit so that I can take some of the roughness out of it. I want to thank you all for being patient this winter while I don't really have a place to work in my shop, and letting me present things that are a little more unusual and not necessarily furniture flipping. And yeah, so I do thank you for that. And if you leave a comment, and you can express more of your opinions on that and give me suggestions. Hopefully spring will be here soon, and I can go back to my normal restoration and refinishing and have some more fun. We do have a challenge coming up, so that's definitely a furniture refinishing, so I'll probably end up doing that in my house. That's on February 23rd, and it's a thrift flip. Here, I'm just decorating the side of this canvas panel. I don't call my painting tutorials because, although I do have some techniques, I'm not sure that they're for everyone, and maybe I don't have the confidence, but I will explain at least why I'm doing what I'm doing. So right here, I'm drawing just a center line, a side of her face, and the center line, and where I think her eyes, nose, mouth, and chin will fit. So that first line is between the eyebrows and the eyes. The second line would be her nose, and I'm a little out of frame here, but it gets better. And the bottom line would be her chin, at the bottom of her lip to the chin. And of course, not every face is perfectly aligned like that. So, you're going to adjust up and down, and I made a lot of adjustments on this, as you can see later on. But I just throw some paint, and I use a lot of the dark paint here, and I tend to do my shadows first, or at least that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create the darkness, the darkest part of the background first, and then I will start adding my lights. And here you can see this picture. This photograph is actually from Pexel, and that's a free photography website where you can go on and, it doesn't have any copyright that you'd have to follow, and it's free for use. And anyway, I don't know if the person who saw this painting afterwards is going to say, oh, that's my photograph. I don't know, not really. And so here you can see that it's, I'm taking a little bit of artistic deference here because she's not aligned with the edge of the actual canvas. In the end, she is. But just to explain that. And it's a lovely photo, I think. I love the translucence in her skin. I just think that's really pretty. She has a lot of pink and peach undertones, so that's fun to work with in a painting. And it is challenging for me to use acrylics. Some people are really, really comfortable with doing a portrait painting with acrylic, but it is different, and obviously it's different than using oils. And I do have an extender mixed with a lot of my paint, so that I'll have a little bit longer work to blend my edges. And this painting will be mostly blended. And I do like the brush strokes. I think brush strokes are fun and interesting, especially when you get really close to the work and you can kind of see what the method is. From far away, it's really hard to tell. But when you get up close, you can see all the brush strokes and the subtleness of the undercolor. I will say one thing I have to discipline myself to is not to do the details too fast. I have a tendency of just getting lost in details before I've actually finished my background. So if I was doing a tutorial, I would be saying to you, don't do these parts too soon, the details of the eyebrows and the eye and the nose and the mouth. Just, let them settle with their background colors and get your face and your colors locked in before you start putting details. Because if you want to change it, you're going to have to go over, potentially you'll have to go over something that you really love the way it came out, which is kind of what happened to me here. I started doing details of the eyes and I loved the way her eyelashes came out. I don't know why. But then I had to go in and I had to go over it because it wasn't quite right. So I would suggest that you do not do as I do, but do as I say. Get your face, in all the sections of the shadows of her face and nose alignment. Get all of that basically the way you want it before you start doing the details, just so that you don't, it's not wrong, it's just, it's more chance that you're going to have to go back and paint over it and change it if you do it too soon. I imagine some people are good enough that they don't have to go back and make changes, but I've seen, even to me, the best painters like Renzo Castaneda. I think that's how you say his name. Renzo. He's like the best living portrait artist in the world, I think, at this time. And you could certainly argue that, because that's a matter of opinion. But I mean, when you see his portraits, they literally jump from the canvas, and it's almost impossible to tell the difference between the photo and the canvas paint. So he's that good. He's really, really, really good. And I idolize the way he does things. And if he was going to do it, he would leave those eyes until way near the end, because he's a better painter than I am. But it is fun, though. These are the most fun parts for me to do, are these details. It's almost like eating dessert first. So even though not every eye you're going to be able to see the whites of the eye 360 degrees. In this particular photo, if you look really closely at her eye that is showing, it shows a little bit of lightness at the very bottom. It's not her pupil, it's just lightness next to the skin of her eye. And so that's what I'm aiming for right now. Here I'm trying to blend in some of the shadow on the side of her face. And afterwards I am going to go back with my background paint, that gray paint, and I'm going to thin out her face a little bit because she just got a little bit too wide. And so I just wanted to say on the ear, again, I try to do the background color first and then put the highlights on top so that you can see the actual shape of her ear, but it's barely seen in the photo, so kind of following that. And on the upper right corner of her head, she does have some very light colored hair, but it seems to me, it appears to be either pulled back tightly or actually very short or shaven on that side. I love the way there's a little bit of an indent at the inside corner of her eye. It has a really neat shape. It's tight and then it drops down. Very interesting eye. So here I'm trying to use a little bit darker gray because as the eye goes up toward the top eyelid, you need to put a shadow in there to make the whole eye appear more rounded and orbital. So, and putting that dark shadow at the top will help with that. Now you can spend an awful lot of time on these details, so that's why I would suggest doing the details and the shadows in the face absolutely first before you get here. So my light is kind of changing here because I'm on my porch. It faces south and the sun moves from east to west and kind of causes some shadows and glare as the day wears on. Kind of crazy looking right now, but it will shake out in the end. light added in the center of her eyebrow increases the likelihood that you'll see that her face is rounded.
That's interesting.